I think it says that I am live, and I'm just trying to figure out and making sure that, well, if my mic's not working, then the mic from the computer itself should be working. So let me take a check. Well, it tells me yep, it says my headset mic is working, which is good because it gives a better, what do I want to say, sound for you. And hello, this is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness. And I want to welcome you to this Friday morning chit chat live. In my last two lives, I talked about the fact that I wanted to make sure that you, well, I wanted to come on because my intuition, my higher self, um, who I want to say, my phone just rang and it distracted me, and you know it does that. Um, the it has been gnawing at me for several months to come to the point where I needed to do lives. And I have no idea, but I've learned to follow my intuition. I've learned to say, okay, there's a reason for this. Now, the reason I follow that before I go any further is that I have learned in the past that when I ignored this little voice in my head, this thing that says to me, "Do this," um, it usually winds up that it was something I should have done, or something happened that something broke, or something happened that set it up that it was like, Bev, you should have done that. So, welcome to my Friday morning chat. And most times I allow Source, Infinite Intelligence, God, to kind of lead me in what I'm going to talk about. So, when I do the Beverly Fells Jones show, or I'm doing Eclectic Alchemy, a lot of times, a lot of people who are YouTuber, people who are doing different things, they plan out for months what their schedule is going to be or what they're going to talk about. Now, other than the news media, they go for what's going on today and what's happening today and those kind of things. But I kind of tend to allow myself to be led to where I need to go. Okay? So that's where I am today. So, for those of you who are new, I'm Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and I am an author leader. Also, it's easier for me to give you a better way to do it, or an easier way to implement. New thought leaders were talking. They called this thing called the ether. And in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, and I have the quote on my mirror in my bathroom. And basically, he says, a thought impressed upon this substance often enough, clarified enough, will cause that thought to come to be. You've heard thoughts are things, or the more you think about something, the more it will happen. If you believe you can achieve it. But if you believe you can achieve and you do the work, You can achieve it. And so I come to you raw most times. I do not have a script today. I've got some ideas about what I wanted to talk to you today. And so today I'm going to share something with you I did, a number of years ago. And right now I'm thinking about re-releasing it. The problem was that it was so intense that a lot of people would drop out from doing it. And the intensity was, it was called 40 Days to Prosperity. And each day for 40 days, I sent you an email and it had a lesson in the beginning. It would ask you questions about that lesson. Or as you grew older and you had a certain belief about how certain things work, and then all of a sudden you found out it didn't work that way. Some say, you know, so who do you identify with as the higher power in your life? Each day, you would write out 5 or more gratitude statements for things you've already experienced and truly appreciated. And one of the things I wanted you to do was to include what has happened to you as a result of doing these daily meditations and getting these daily lessons. Also, you could write out some gratitude statements for things that you wanted to show up in your life. So it was like, why you have me do all these things, Beverly? And it was because I wanted you only learn about how gratitude works in your life, but part of manifesting is feel it real. Believe you have received and it will be yours. And that comes from scripture. Believe you have received and it will be yours. Act as though, and you remember, have you heard that one? Act as though you already have it. Fake it till you make it, right? Is one of those. But don't fake it to the point where it's detrimental to you. It's like you want to go inside and visualize what it feels like to have what you want. The third piece of this was a meditation. And you go into meditation and think and feel what it means to experience everything that you just wrote in that gratitude letter, right? I wanted you to vividly imagine it in a positive way. And there were a few other examples for doing that. All right, set a timer, meditate on the lesson, visualize, and I was asking for 10 to 15 minutes for that. And then the last thing for the day was to pay it forward. It was a payment forward gift. The flow of abundance goes both ways. If you expect to receive, you need to give, right? And so you must be willing to give. And it's called the law of circulations. And it could be anything. You could pay it forward to your religious organization. You could pay it forward to a charity. You could pay it forward by, if you're in a line and you pay for the person's coffee or drink behind you. I mean, you could do all, you've heard of those things. When the concept of tithing, I talk about is that you can tie to where you are getting your, what I want to say, spiritual food. What is giving you joy? What is helping you to become a better person? What is helping you to see yourself succeeding? Well, those 4 pieces was a lot because I asked for about 45 minutes and really, carving out even 10 minutes to do a meditation sometime is difficult. And so I thought about it. Oh, and by the way, I did a video for each one. So each day you had a video to watch. And it was just, I thought was too much. So I streamlined it down and So I'm going to share with you over time some of the reading information or some of the things that I talked about in these 40 days of prosperity. And so I am going to share with you right now, day one, and I'm going to read to you what the day one was. Today is the first day of opening my mind to the possibility of living abundantly. Today, I make the commitment to learning and implementing the principles of the laws of prosperity and abundance provided to me by the greatest benefactor, by the greatest benefactor, the creator of the universe, which includes all existing matter, energy, and space. So I'm going to read that piece just again. Because if you're reading it, you can read it over and over again. But when somebody's talking to you, you go, what did she say? Because sometimes we just kind of zone out. I do that. Today, I make the commitment to learning and implementing the principles of the laws of prosperity and abundance provided to me by the greatest benefactor, the creator of the universe, which includes all existing matter, energy, and space. I know that prosperity includes mind, body, and spirit. I know that my requirements are more than met as I focus on the source of my supply. My benefactor, whose name is, and I had a blank space there because I wanted you to put the name of who you believe is the benefactor of all of your abundance, to all the things that are coming into your life. What is the name of your benefactor? So, my benefactor, whose name is my supplier. And I gave a quote here. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. And that's from 3rd John chapter 1, verse 2. So that's 3rd John chapter 1, verse 2. So who is your benefactor? Who is it that you talk to, you pray to, you have a conversation with, you go in meditation with for your abundance? Because you have to know who that is. If you don't know who that is, then we got to work on that, right? That he is within all of us. And Christ did say that God is within you. So my supplier is part of me, in me. My supplier allows me to be abundant. Here's every care, every word that I say. And even when I say things in a negative way or something negative, or say something can't happen, it doesn't, because every request is answered. So that's why I tell people if you say something you really don't want, make sure you say, I cancel that order. Cancel, cancel. I no, that's not what I want. And so for you and for me, there are steps to abundance. And the very first step is understanding who is your supplier. You know, I was listening to a podcast this week, and it was a bunch of teenagers. They had the podcast, and Prince Harry and Meghan, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who's in the news, we're talking about, you know, what you put in your mind and getting rid of the negativity in your life and refusing to watch negativity, to be a part of negativity. It was a conversation on bullying and online bullying. And, one of the things I used to say, I got somebody that didn't like it. It's like I arrived. So some people go, if I have a hater, that means that I've arrived. Well, I don't want haters. You may disagree with what I say and what I do, but I don't, I don't care about having haters. You know, I like wonderful discourse and I like scientific answers. And I like if, you show me physically through an experiment. I do experiments all the time. So I'll go, okay, let's try that. All right. Well, it's this way. Well, show me how it's this way. And if I can do it and make it happen again, okay. Or if I actually see somebody do something or say something, I've learned a lot of times that I need not be afraid to form my own opinion. And that has been part of my holdback for many years. I was really concerned on what, let's say, you thought. And if you didn't agree, why? You know, um, I did this and I said this, or I wouldn't say things because I would feel as though it would break your belief system. Well, I'm here to break your belief system. I want you to be open to change and open to changing your mind to change your life. So I've got my book here. Charles Hannell did a correspondence course, and I've talked about this before, called the Master Key System. And it's 24 weeks, 24 sessions. And in week 15, I've highlighted a whole ton of stuff, but I want to share with you a couple of things in this. One, difficulties, disharmonies, and obstacles indicate that we are either refusing to give out what we no longer need or refusing to accept what we require. Difficulties, harmonies, and obstacles indicate that we are either refusing to give out what we no longer need or refusing to accept what we require. So, in other words, if it's not helping you in your life, if it's not being beneficial to you in your life, then time to check it out. But if it's beneficial, then how is it beneficial? How are you using it? And then the other one, refusing to accept what we require. There's a lot of information out there. There's books after books after books. One of the books that I share with you, and let's see, is this book. Okay, let me get it over right. Manifestations, True Stories of Bringing the Imagined into Reality. And in it are 100 stories, 101 counting mine. I'm in this book, of how people have manifested things in their life. And when I read these and I choose them again, I go in and I just kind of let universal mind, infinite intelligence kind of lead me to which one to do that day. And as I read it, you know, they're all basically telling us the same thing of how they manifest it. And part of that is knowing who their supplier is. And where I was going to go with the podcast thing, when I talked about supplier, I got distracted. But they were talking about, negativity, is that, well, it wasn't on that podcast, it was on a different podcast. And did you know that as a watcher of YouTube or being on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you are referred to as a user? You are a user of Facebook, you're a user of Instagram or Pinterest or any of those. And it was brought out that it's really interesting because we become addicted to those. I did too, became addicted to watching YouTube videos and stuff during the lockdown, right? Or Facebook. But we're users. And the terminology is also used for people who are on drugs or who drink alcohol or who are on cocaine. I mean, they're referred to as users because they are addicted to them, right? So let your addiction take you to things that are uplifting for you, for things that make you better, for things that are positive in your life. And that's part of what I want you to look at, because as you change your mind, as you you start flipping the switch, because honestly, when I flipped the switch from the way I used to think to the way I think now, it was like turning on the sun, turning on the light bulb. I became, um, what do I was liberated. I was liberated from the pain. I was liberated from wondering why certain things showed up in my life. And I started going backwards to say, now, this law of attraction thing says I said something, did something. How did I bring this in? Or how did this wind up showing up? And I started finding the cause for the effects in my life. So I want you to meditate. Just sit, close your eyes, and think about who is the supplier, who helps you bring abundance into your life, and say thank you. And when anything happens in your life, and you realize that you had asked for it or something you had said, or say thank you. I always do. You know, when somebody treats me to something, it's like, thank you. This is abundance. Somebody buys me lunch, or a friend of mine helped me with my truck keys. I needed a new set. I say thank you, because it's not always about bringing money in. It could be somebody does something for you that you would have spent money on, but they did it for you and you didn't have to spend that money or an amount of money. Recognize those things that come into your life. Recognize who you are and recognize who your supplier is, right? Because in addiction, they want to know who is your supplier, right? So be addicted to becoming the best that you could be. Become addicted to learning where your negativity is and change it and ask for what you want. Be addicted to doing the things that you really, really want to do. Who do you want to be? Is a little thing that, oh, there it is. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, this little piece of software I have is like really cute. Um, and I want to thank you by giving you a kiss. Yes, I want to give you a kiss and say thank you for being here, and subscribe and hit the bell. And I will see you in the next video.